And that's for them friends and them cronies. I come big a new leader. New Jamaica, new era. We now vote with the show's leader. Long time they want take with before leader. So, Mark Golden at the new leader. New Jamaica, new era. We now vote with the show's leader. Long time they want take with before leader.
Comrade Chairman, Conference, 86 years. For 86 years, we have been ending our political year and starting a brand new one by celebrating the anniversary of the beginning of this noble movement, the People's National Party. This year, PNP River come down bank to bank. What energy! What a spirit inside this place. Anywhere that the word is love, it can be felt. I feel it right here in the national arena today. I greet my wife, Sandra, and our children. Your love has been steadfast, true, and sustaining. Thank you for always being here with me. To the people of the mighty constituency of South St. Andrew, who have shown me the possibilities that come with making meaningful change in the lives of our people. Our guests from the diplomatic and consular corps, our visitors from overseas, especially our powerful diaspora who have come to Jamaica for this conference. The officers, executive members, NEC members, regional committees, members of parliament and councillors, candidates, constituency committees and group members and their chairs, cluster managers, workers, warriors, foot soldiers, all members and supporters of the People's National Party. You are the ones who make this party function. I must mention the teams at PNP headquarters and the office of the leader of the opposition. Members of the media providing coverage for this joyous occasion. In particular, I want to provide a word of comfort to those ravished by Hurricane Beryl in July this year. In particular, the people of Clarendon, Southern Manchester, St. Elizabeth, and Westmoreland. And I welcome those listening to us from your homes and in your communities, in Jamaica and all over the world. Comrades and friends, in Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1, it says, "To everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven." Well, I stand before you today and say, the time has come for change. Yes, comrades, the time is once again for Jamaica to choose change. Things cannot continue the way they are, and the People's National Party will bring change. Comrades, the PNP has been at the center of positive change in this country from 1938 which was over 20 years before political independence from Britain. Over the years, our leaders implemented a vision that led Jamaica forward. It is undeniable that the People's National Party, through every stage of its transition to a modern nation state, we were the ones guiding the country forward. Founding father Norman Washington Manley led political change, including universal adult suffrage, political independence, and nationhood. His son, Michael Joshua Manley, led the transformational social change that empowered Jamaicans to stand firm and shout from the mountaintop, I might be a simple man, but simply a man am I. Equal pay for women was transformational social change. No bastard law was transformational social change. Minimum wage was transformational social change. And rights for workers was transformational social change. Percival James Patterson delivered a vast range of achievements for the Jamaican people. He led infrastructure change, reminding this country that the road to development is the development of roads. He was the chief visionary behind Jamaica's modern highway network, and he became Jamaica's most successful political leader. That is why we say PJ. Portia Lucretia Simpson Miller led the economic change that others are now claiming. And time come for Sister P to get the credit she deserves. Let us never forget her. The Jamaica Labour Party government ran from every test and drove the country into a deep crisis. But it was under Sister P that we turned the country around and put our economy firmly on track. While navigating the necessary sacrifices, Sister P always showed love for the people. And that love is reflected in her powerful instruction. Never look down on a person unless you're going to lift them up. Sister P, that was the heartbeat of your message. Dr. Peter David Phillips, he was the principal architect of our successful fiscal transformation. His hands were on the financial wheel when Jamaica worked our way from under the heavy yoke of unsustainable public debt, creating new vistas of opportunity to realize our full potential. We are where we are today as a nation because the team of Portia Simpson Miller and Peter David Phillips guided us through the most turbulent times. We commit today as a party to forever defend their great legacy. The works of our former leaders inspire us to deliver a better life for all Jamaicans, guided by our progressive principles of equality and justice, built on a firm foundation of utmost integrity.
He must inspire by example, and above all, he must have integrity. 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 Hey!
Our leaders have inspired us to move forward and to make new decisions for new times. We are now in a new phase of global change and uncertainty that more than ever must be navigated by strong, principled leadership. Together, we will continue this noble mission, with our next stop being Jamaica House. Jamaica is ready. We are ready. The People's National Party is more than ready. Today, as president of our party, humbly and respectfully, I make it clear to all Jamaicans and the world, we choose change. Our 21st century mandate is one of change for Jamaica, land we love. Together, we will deliver on that mandate.
It's been a long time coming, but I know change won't come.
I want to say something about where I am coming from. As a teenager and as a young adult, I spent time on Jamaican streets and in the dance halls. I loved the rhythm and the energy of our culture. My worldview was inspired by the music and culture of Jamaica as much as by anything that I ever read in any book. Comrades, I met the love of my life on one of those moves. And on the first night we met, we ended up in a dance competition. And we won a dinner for two at a restaurant downtown. So you could say that we danced into each other's lives. And we've been rocking it together ever since for 40 years with 3 children and 1 beautiful granddaughter. I grew up in a home environment which believed in giving the most vulnerable people opportunities to build their lives. My father had the vision to build the country's leading center for the rehabilitation of persons with disabilities. And my parents dedicated their careers to empowering and uplifting that community. My father also founded the Hope Valley Experimental School with a mission for children from all walks of life, able-bodied and disabled, to learn together, to play together, and to grow together. Those who could not walk had the same opportunities as those who could walk. There was no place for discrimination where I grew up. I born and grow with the understanding that whatever your color, your class, your creed, people are people. That is what I know. As Sister P said, never look down on someone unless you are lifting them up. This speaks to engendering positive values and attitudes in a nation by making our most vulnerable our most valuable. A caring nation requires that we put people first. These experiences taught me, as the donkey would say, that the world no level and that the system has to change. It must change if there is going to be real change. So I have grown and lived the tenets of the People's National Party, and no doubt that is what led me here. And comrades and friends, I never took my eyes off justice. So joining the People's National Party was an easy fit for me. When Prime Minister Simpson Miller invited me to sit in the Senate when she was opposition leader, it was an exciting opportunity for me to evolve from a career in the law and business into pursuing justice for our people. Social justice, economic justice, distributive justice, restorative justice, environmental justice. That is what Mark Jefferson Golding stands for.
Equal rights, justice, and equal rights, justice.
So, my fellow Jamaicans, we must forge a society with equality, fairness, social justice, and dignity for our people at the forefront of our hearts and our minds as we transcend the discussions and the struggles and hardships of our history and our present. I believe that the greatest, fastest, and most sustainable development will come from investing in and empowering our people. Trickling down and tinkering with the status quo will never transform our society to a new and better paradigm. Time come for us to recognize the rights of all Jamaicans. No child should be excluded from a school or adult from their workplace because they wear locks. And no government should ever fight in court to defend any rule that excludes Rasta child or Rasta picnic from wearing locks and coming to school. Time come to complete the reimagining of our ganja industry, liberating our small farmers and bringing them into the center of our policy to make that industry work for all Jamaicans. Time come to give our people access to the beaches and rivers of this country for their recreation so they can de-stress and enjoy the natural beauty of their island home. Time come to eliminate any abusive labor practices like the device of contract work in the public and private sector when it denies our workers their basic employment benefits. Time come to once again provide affordable housing for our people and to regularize land ownership for thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands who have lived without secure tenure for decades. Time come for a livable wage that adjusts with inflation so that a basic quality of life is assured to all our workers, and to do more for our long-suffering pensions as well. Time come for a new deal for our teachers, our police officers, our nurses, our firemen, our correctional officers who serve the public and deserve to be treated with respect. We have work to do, comrades. I know these things are possible with the will and skills to achieve them. These are part of the mission of the next PNP government. The Prime Minister just needs to fly the gate. Call it Andrew, call it, and Iman will sound the trumpet.
Some politicians will come down now. Andrew, you come down now. That will pass. Come down now. Hey,
Hey, I want to like go. I'm full time now. We more era talk go. This is
After 8 long years, the people have had enough. The captain and his ship are sinking and his sailors are bailing out. Jamaican governance has become more coarse, more crass, more corrupt, and more corrosive. Jamaicans have lost confidence in the future of our country and in its current leadership. They feel unsafe for their families and themselves. They feel economically deprived and insecure. They feel underappreciated and taken advantage of and hopeless. The government is failing the people. But help is on the way, my fellow Jamaicans. Better is possible and better must come. Time come and we choose change. Comrades and friends, last year, Jamaica embarked upon a formal process of constitutional reform. The people were excluded from the design of the process, and the people did not trust it. The PNP is very clear on our positions on points of principle. Our representatives on the committee that they established did not sign the report of that committee because we did not agree and we do not agree with some of its recommendations. And I will share some of those issues with you now. First, the reformed constitution will establish the role of a president to replace the governor general. We have no problem with that. The president will play a critical role in appointments to sensitive positions of state. And that president must be perceived as independent of partisan politics. The president must enjoy the trust and confidence of the society as a whole. Therefore, if there is no consensus between the government and the opposition on who the person should be as president, the PNP does not support the appointment being made by a simple majority vote in Parliament. That effectively is what the majority of that committee have recommended. That would compromise the independence, trust, and confidence that the president must enjoy. And I say, no way, that is not in the interest of Jamaica. We also insist that an impeachment procedure should be included in the reformed constitution to hold delinquent politicians to account. The two parties were originally committed to this. I tabled a revised impeachment bill in Parliament in April 2021, over 3 years ago. But this government has chosen to ignore it for 1,237 days. Accountability is not a priority for them, as it is for the PNP. The JLP has flip-flopped and impeachment has been excluded from the report of that Constitutional Reform Committee. We support full decolonization now, not a piecemeal approach. No more foreign king as our head of state, and no more inaccessible final court on the other side of the world that decides our laws in the name of a foreign king. We want a final court that is accessible to our people so that they can get justice. And the Caribbean Court of Justice, the CACJ, is doing this for the people of Barbados, Guyana, Belize, Dominica, and St. Lucia, and those countries are doing well. Time come for the Jamaican people to have the fundamental right of access to high quality justice at the highest level. Comrades, fellow Jamaicans, those are some of the reasons why the PNP did not sign that report. But our party is very committed to constitutional reform. And when we form government, we will restart that process, but in an inclusive way. We will invite the people of Jamaica to participate in a meaningful conversation about how we can enrich our democracy by making our leaders more accountable to the people. How we can make the processes of government more transparent to the people, and how we can empower the people through a more participatory model of local government. We are committed to completing the local government reforms which we embarked on when we were last in government, but have stalled under this government. We will implement the commitments made in our local government election manifesto to empower our municipalities to deliver high quality government and services to the people in the municipal corporations. Jamaicans are tired of the impunity of those who hold political power. Public officials must be held accountable, and there must be transparency and openness in the conduct of national affairs and reasonable protection of privacy in personal life. I am very concerned about the insidious abuse of the Data Protection Act by state officials to restrict disclosure of potentially damning information in which there is a strong and legitimate public interest. First, it was to hide the details about the waste of taxpayers' money to make massive rental payments for an unoccupied building to a private owner. Then it was to hide information about the salaries being paid to the former DPP, whose extension in office was ruled unconstitutional by the Supreme Court, and to the person who was appointed to act as DPP pending a permanent appointment.
Come take a look in Jamaica. Injustice in the place now. If what you think really pays you. If you want the it's out of many got one second.
There is no accountability for non-performance in this JLP administration. Government negligently allows critical boards and tribunals to grind to a halt because of failure to make appointments when the terms of those boards expire. The Early Childhood Commission, the Access to Information Appeals Tribunal, even the Public Service Commission itself have been examples of the government falling asleep at the job. And ministers desperately seek to pass the buck when a passenger falls sick and dies at our largest airport without any prompt medical response or even an ambulance to take him to hospital in time to try and save his life. Corruption is rampant at the highest levels of this government. You will remember during my budget presentation when they tried to prevent me from saying some critical things about governance, even shutting down the sitting of Parliament. Well, I went on the street and I said what I had to say, and I will say it here again. The failure to disclose the identity of the so-called illicit 6 MPs who are under investigation by the Integrity Commission for illicit enrichment remains a festering sore, only made worse by the Prime Minister's gag order on cabinet ministers speaking publicly on these matters. But wait, comrades, I have to rewrite that part. because it is no longer 6. It has gone to 8. So let me say it again. The failure to disclose the identity of the so-called illicit 8 MPs who are under investigation by the Integrity Commission remains a festering sore, only made worse by the Prime Minister's gag order on his cabinet ministers and MPs speaking publicly on these matters. Comrades, I had to hurry up and say that a second time, because before we reach and finish here today, maybe it will move from 8 to 12, the way how the number of labor rights illicits seems to multiply like gremlins. And comrades, now we have a second Integrity Commission report on the Prime Minister, sent to Parliament, but not yet tabled for the public to see, with little bits of it being selectively leaked to JLP allied media houses. We will put a stop to such shenanigans. We will change the law so that all Integrity Commission reports must be published on Parliament's website within a short time, perhaps 24 hours of being sent to Parliament, so all Jamaicans can read those reports. Comrades, it is time to change these things. Accountability and transparency matter, and that is change. When the PNP forms government, our job is to create an environment in which Jamaicans can thrive and achieve their versions of the Jamaican dream. Every Jamaican must feel well cared for and enabled by their government. We must invest and build an efficient and caring public service with short wait times, giving value for the taxes that you pay. We want a Jamaica where our people don't pay to migrate to foreign because you're so nice. People deserve much more than what is happening now. We want garbage moved from our gates. We want street lights that work. We want sewage in pipes underground and not running in the streets. We want clean piped water in all our homes. And we want roads that don't mash up our vehicles' front ends if you're lucky enough to have a vehicle. And we want public health facilities that treat people with dignity and provide good and affordable health care. And we need schools that give every child a strong basic education so they can go on to pursue whatever career they choose. And we want to feel safe in our homes and in our communities. While there is no magic wand to do everything at once, the PNP in government will prioritize the things that the people are crying out for every day. And we will ensure that public resources are not scraped away in corruption for friends and cronies, but are only used for the benefit of the people. My fellow Jamaicans, the PNP will apply a mix of change policies to put things right. We are ready to move forward on a new path. The PNP's talent pool is deep and wide, with the right mix of experience, skill, expertise, energy, and commitment to transform Jamaica. We are ready to take the bold steps necessary to make Jamaicans' lives better, and we have a plan. Jamaica has one of the highest murder rates in the world. And our first priority must be strengthening and enabling communities to feel safe and secure. The PNP's vision for citizen security is built on a foundation of community partnership and empowerment. We are committed to the optimal blend of effective law enforcement with community-driven solutions to create a safer Jamaica. Our strategy targets the root causes of crime and delivers results that reduce crime and violence sustainably. A balanced approach to crime and crime reduction is at the core of our strategy. Our approach recognizes that public safety is best achieved when enforcement and prevention are working in harmony. Under this government, that has not been happening, but we have a plan. They shut down Unite for Change, and they defunded the Peace Management Initiative, and crime and violence went through the roof. We will not neglect the need for community engagement. We will not outsource it to the private sector. We will partner with the private sector, with the churches, with civil society, and roll out a national program of effective, holistic, and sustainable community engagement. And we will not ignore the reality that our prison system needs an overhaul so it rehabilitates inmates rather than producing more hardened criminals. Our portfolio teams for citizen security, education, social transformation, culture, and sports have been taking a joined-up approach, working together. We will invest heavily to increase the number of social workers in our communities, tasked with addressing core social programs and problems like school absenteeism, teenage parenting, and student hunger. We will ensure that the needs of our most vulnerable citizens, children, elderly, and infirm Jamaicans are responded to by the state. And therapeutic counseling will be integrated into our intervention programs to combat the culture of violence and the trauma that it causes. We will provide at-risk youth with viable alternatives to criminal activity, investing in remedial education, job training, and youth development programs. The next PNP government will revisit and revamp the Social Development Commission. It was originated by the Right Excellent Norman Manley, and once again it will become a catalyst for sustainable community development.
Did we use them out to live? Did we use them out to survive? Hold your corner and save your life, and that's no time.
We envision community-based training programs in construction skills, coding, software development, dramatic performance, arts, music, design, filmmaking, sound engineering, and sports. This will engage more young people in productive tasks and give lawful alternative pathways for the youth to make a good living. This integrated approach will lay the foundation for sustainable peace and progress in our communities. We will also pass legislation to allow targeted detentions under court supervision for known producers of violence on whom there is credible intelligence. This will enable cases to be built and lead to successful prosecutions, so there is accountability and no more impunity in this land. Our proactive, interventionist social policy will also help to support our economic policy, and it is to that economic policy that I now turn. My fellow Jamaicans, we are at a crossroads in our nation's economic history. The country faces two distinct economic choices. Jamaica, under the current government, will continue down a path where only a few benefit, and most Jamaicans face hard times, frustration, and hopelessness.
When poor people fed up, throw your system shut up, you issue guns and repeat the boss. When people fed up, throw the system shut up, and every year they get to you stand up.
We remain committed to macroeconomic stability and prudent fiscal management. That's very important, comrades. Never forget that it was the last PNP administration that did the heavy lifting to enable Jamaica to reduce its debt to GDP ratio by half in just 10 years. It's the PNP who achieved that and started that ball rolling in the right direction. But while that is necessary, it is clearly not sufficient. Our national sacrifices and fiscal successes must deliver real improvement in the lives of our people. Everybody must benefit and no one should be left behind. That is the PNP philosophy. We will build out our vision of Jamaica becoming a global maritime and aviation logistics hub. It started under us, but it has stalled. Jamaica must capitalize on our unique geographical position, right at the trade lines that pass through the Panama Canal and at the heart of international trade routes. We will build out clusters of logistics-related activities to increase quality, well-paying jobs and expand the economy, driving further investment in logistics-related industries. Our aim is to transform Jamaica into a premier trade and logistics hub and the gateway to the Americas and a cornerstone of growth in regional and hemispheric trade. We need a more balanced and resilient economy in an era of growing food insecurity. So look out for the transformation of agriculture and the blue economy, our maritime economy, to drive rural development. We have to invest in farm roads, in cold storage facilities, in irrigation systems. We have to deepen the use of technology, marketing support, and expanded access to affordable loans for our farmers.
Farming over plastic, investment over graft. Inheritance from the seas of the RIP.
We will forge collaborative relationships with the large private sector players in poultry, agro-processing, milk and livestock production to improve and increase their already significant contribution to the economy. We will partner with CASE and other research institutions to develop productivity-boosting projects and improve our planting stock, our animal genetics, our farming systems, animal husbandry, and agronomy. We will boost our own research facilities at Bodles, Orange River, and Montpelier. Experts in each sector will provide the blueprint required for our farmers to grow those sectors so as to ensure food security for our nation. Comrades, another critical industry in the pursuit of inclusive, sustainable economic growth is the cultural creative sector. The state must get behind this sector to assist it to reach its enormous economic potential for the people of Jamaica. Our portfolio teams will work together to establish a single authority for the efficient granting of permits for entertainment events. We will establish 24-hour entertainment zones in suitable locations and develop balanced and clear guidelines under the Noise Abatement Act for nighttime entertainment in communities. Comrades, energy is fundamental to the economic development of our country. Remember this government's promises in 2016 about big power plants and big energy companies to lower light bills in Jamaica. Well, they are nowhere to be seen. This JLP government has failed to bring on board any new renewable capacity to the grid. And we are tired of those promises from the government year after year. We will get it done. We have done it before and we will do it again. The price of electricity is too high in Jamaica and the PNP will get it down.
So me decide say, well, me not pay the bill. So me say, all right, me not pay the bill. So me decide say, well, me not pay the bill.
We will invest in regularizing electricity supply in communities where true-ups are the norm. And the state has to underwrite most of the cost of rewiring, inspection and certification and provide solar capacity pooled into community microgrids to reduce household electricity bills among newly regularized customers. Everyone must lawful. The current JPSCO license is coming to an end. So we have the opportunity, indeed the duty, to ensure a more responsive and forward-looking approach to customers' needs and the resilience of our country's transmission and distribution systems to be taken. Energy is critical to the economy. Change means enabling families to own land and afford proper housing. Land and housing are fundamental development priorities. In celebration of our first female Prime Minister, we will bring forth the Portia Initiative, the program for orderly renewal and transformation of infrastructure in all areas, the Portia Initiative. This program will drive policies that Sister P stood for, improving infrastructure in old housing schemes, tearing down zinc fences in communities and replacing them with proper concrete walls, completing the infrastructure and land titling for existing land tenure regularization schemes, they call it Operation Pride, and rolling out new ones to bring hope and decent living conditions in areas of social neglect. Our beloved Sister P will smile as the next PNP government improves sidewalks for persons with disabilities, provides housing assistance to needy citizens, and beautifies communities where our people live. The Portia Initiative is a must, and time come for that.
When you get a system you're from, who was a young poor people and
the next PNP government will also make lands available to the National Housing Trust for qualified contributors so they can build their own homes. From day one, we are going to restore the core mandate of the National Housing Trust, which was the baby of Michael Joshua Manley. We will stop the extraction of capital from the National Housing Trust. It was an emergency measure. It was supposed to only last for 4 years, and it has now continued for over 12 years. And we will return to providing affordable houses for people who need to buy or build a home. We plan a comprehensive review of all laws relating to housing to find ways to make housing more affordable for all Jamaicans. These initiatives are all about balancing the books and the people's lives, something that Sister P always spoke about and believed in. Comrades, Jamaica must emerge from an economy characterized by low growth, low wages, low technology, low productivity. And to do that, we must choose change. And this area, investment in human development must be the key. It must be the key. And when it comes to education, the People's National Party's conviction remains the same. Education, education, education is at the top of our priority list. We are committed to building an education system that is inclusive, equitable, and excellent. Bold steps and real investment are needed to ensure that every child from the earliest years through to tertiary education has the opportunity to succeed. We have the plan and we are ready. Today, I reaffirm our party's commitment to excellence in education. Our approach to early childhood development will provide performance-based incentives for early childhood facilities to give them additional resources to improve standards. At the primary and secondary levels, we will implement a comprehensive program that is targeted and provides targeted support to each aspect of the curriculum. Expanding access to tertiary education is also a critical part of the mix. I have long advocated for the removal of guarantors for student loans, a policy that this government has eventually adopted, and it was a significant step forward. And we are in full support of that, because we put the interests of Jamaican people first. But as the party of ideas and implementation, we must take this further. We believe education must not be a burden of debt, but a bridge to a better future. We will make student loans more borrower-friendly. Graduates will only begin to repay their student loans once they are employed, and their monthly payments will be capped at an affordable percentage of their monthly income. And if there are times when they are between jobs or they're out of work, payment on their student loans will be deferred and tacked onto the back end of the loan period without penalties. This will remove the fear and reluctance among young people to borrow to invest in their education, and it will free up young professionals to build their careers.
Oh, yeah, education is the key for betterment in this modern time, Education is the key for betterment, never you wasting time.
Teachers are the backbone of the education system. And we must show that we truly value our teachers. And we must do whatever is necessary to persuade them to stay in our education system. A student loan forgiveness program will be provided to our teachers based on their years of service in the system. And what we have in mind is that 1 year of payments on their student loan will be forgiven for every year that they remain employed in the public education system. Making the necessary investments in vocational training is also critical for Jamaica to move up the value chain. This starts at the secondary level. Every secondary school must offer a cluster of vocational offerings and will be equipped with state-of-the-art vocational labs, providing hands-on training in critical skills during the day for the students, and will be open to adults in the evenings, promoting lifelong learning and skills development. We also need to incentivize businesses to invest in training, and we have a plan. We propose that HEART matches dollar for dollar the amount that businesses spend on training. This will incentivize and expand business training programs even beyond the current employees of the business. We see a dynamic partnership between the state and the private sector to transform national productivity, rapidly developing our capacity to absorb new investments that create well-paying, high-value-added jobs for our people. It cannot be denied that to have a strong and productive economy, we must have a healthy population. Every Jamaican has joined in the sacrifices that reduced our country's debt. Our people ought to be repaid with a health sector that treats every Jamaican with dignity, not burdened by long waiting times, sleeping on floors or chairs because there are no beds available to admit them when they are sick, and heavy charges for outsourced diagnostic tests that cost an arm and a leg because the equipment in the public sector health system is not being maintained. Millions of dollars are being spent on marketing a broken health system to make everything seem fine and dandy. Popularity is being prioritized over the health of our people. Under this government, the Cornwall Regional Hospital is still barely functioning. The last price tag we heard for its refurbishing was over $22 billion, when $2 billion was originally to be spent, and no one has been held accountable under this regime. It is scandalous, and it is putting additional pressure on the health system to try to cover up or cover for this major health facility being out of action for so long. We choose change, and here is what we will do. We know that prevention is much better than cure, less costly and faster. We will focus on primary care to detect and treat diabetes, high blood pressure, and other chronic diseases, and screen for the early detection and treatment of cancer. The goal is to treat patients well before they get so sick that they need to be admitted into hospital. We will reform procurement and inventory management in the health sector to ensure value for money, and we will give healthcare workers the necessary tools to do their jobs properly. We will train teams of biomedical engineers to repair and maintain the broken equipment, the X-ray machines, ultrasound, CAT scan, ventilators, and keep them in working order so patients have access to them when they need it most. We will expand urgent care services to reduce overcrowding and long waiting times in emergency departments. Comrades, it is a disgraceful blot on this government's record that maternal and child death rates are higher today than they were in 1995. Jamaica is going backwards under this government. Mothers and babies are dying. What happened, Andrew? How come you don't hear the dead babies now?
I hear the spirit of a little baby crying. I hear the spirit of a little baby crying.
The PNP will prioritize the procurement of intensive care units, providing critical care for mothers babies, and the general population. My fellow Jamaicans, comrades of the People's National Party and friends, I have provided you with an understanding of the direction that we must take Jamaica in order to move our country forward. Effective governance built on integrity and honest communication with the Jamaican people are principles that will guide a Mark Golding-led PNP government. We have the team, a team that is sharply focused on providing efficient and caring public service to make Jamaicans feel more hopeful, more empowered, and more facilitated. Our policy mix will engender positive values and attitudes, a greater sense of national purpose, and a caring liberty among all our people. I and I must live as one. We are on the pathway of change to build a society where every well-thinking Jamaican has the opportunity to improve their quality of life. That is our ambition, and I draw inspiration from our most transformational leader, Michael Joshua Manley, who told us if the moral purpose of this mission is to remain intact, it must be approached in humility and supported by prayer. Comrades, it is up to all of us now. Walk every hill and valley, every nook and cranny, every street and lane. Bring in the 90 and 9 and then go for the missing one. Listen to the people's voices and let them hear the trumpets sounding, the mighty refrain from Niggeril Point to Moran Point and back. Time come, and we choose change. Power to the people, comrades. Power to the people. Power to the people. One love, and God bless Jamaica, land we love.
Yeah, we say hello and Joe. Good morning. No, say you never did party, man. Wake up, Vicky talking. Yeah, we say hello, bad man. How you doing today? How you doing today? Yo, Marky G, we no want no strange face round. We are just how we stay. Hey, tell them Mark no big friend. Marky G care about people. They know himself, them steering too. We no love lights, we no fight. Your money, your vehicle. Something bad mind, we no need your man, no big friend.